Eller lingon.
I wasn't going to say that.
Come on.
But when I've travelled around Scandinavia, especially when I was staying in Sweden, actually, I would have fruit for breakfast, jam for breakfast, and I'd say, how have you made this? Because it was incredibly fresh and incredibly intensely fruity. And they'd sort of laugh at me because they'd say they hadn't even bothered to weigh things. They had just put the fruit in the pan and added the sugar and cooked it up and then cooked it until it got to a thickness that they actually thought was quite nice. Yeah. And either then they kept it in the fridge or they put it in their freezer.
A lot of people are really eager to learn about these things.
I think we're very drawn to fruit as well. I don't know if you think there's something kind of wonderful about working with fruit and cooking fruit. Have you heard of Jam Boy?
No.
Yeah, Jam Boy is what he initially wanted to call himself, but it didn't go down very well when he tried to market himself as Jam Boy. So he just decided to be Fraser and call it Super Jam.
My name is Fraser Doherty. I'm 26. I come from Edinburgh, and I'm the founder of a jam company called Super Jam. My adventure in jam began about 12 years ago in my grandmother's kitchen back home in Scotland. And she taught me how to make jam. I started making it as a hobby and selling it to neighbours and at farmers markets and to little shops. And then I came up with my big idea, which was to make jam 100% from fruit. I borrowed my dad's suit, probably a bit too big for me, and pitched my idea to the supermarket.
What kind of pitch did you take?
Well, originally I thought the packaging should make people laugh. And if I could make them laugh enough, then maybe they would buy my products. And so we came up with this idea that Super Jam was like Superman, and I was Jam Boy, this kind of superhero character. And
I like that.
we created these really funny packaging with lots of jokes on the labels, and I was going to wear a costume, and they didn't find it very funny. They said packaging is not to make people laugh. Eventually, after they gave me some advice, they agreed to try my products out on their shelves, and from there it's just been this incredible adventure. We've sold millions of jars around the world. A few months ago, I took my grandmother to Buckingham Palace, where we were given an MBE by Prince Charles, which was a lot of fun, and I think a big highlight for her.
Explain to me why the jam that you made was different to the other jams on the market.
Well, usually jam has a lot of sugar in it, often has additives, and I came up with a way of making jam 100% from fruit.
And why did you want to change it?
I had read that sales of jam had been falling for about 20 years. I just figured that maybe there was a different way of doing it. It works, it sets, it tastes great.
And do you add pectin to it?
We do, but that just comes from apples or oranges, completely natural.
Why do you think this jam has taken off so... because you're big in the Far East, aren't you?
It's been really popular in South Korea. In Japan, there was a dramatisation made of my life story on TV.
What, a documentary? A drama documentary?
I was played by a small Indian boy in the movie. They love jam, afternoon tea, British things. And then I think they like the story of, they live in the most high-tech countries in the world, and so the idea that you could change your life and make a career doing something as traditional as making jam, I think, is quite romantic to them.
Jam Boy.
Jam Boy. I should have gone with that. I shouldn't have listened to anybody. I love it.
It's not kind of colour. Mellowing. It's kind of, it's a kind of corally colour.
Yeah.
So Camilla has brought us, just in my own garden, I hadn't paid much of attention to these, white rose petals, which are very, very fragrant. So you're going to put those into the melon rind jam as well.
It's got a bitterness to it, but I don't mind bitter flavours.
No,
I think people
that's
are really
nice.
scared of bitter flavours.
It's like a scented, hayish kind of marmalade.
How would you have it?
Fresh goat's cheese.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you have any?
No. Why did I not think of that? And I would like that on rice pudding, actually.
Yes.
I'm going to get mine over here.
So how do you sterilise your jars?
It's quite lazy. I put them in the dishwasher, and then I take them out, and they're still hot, and I pot.
The very simplest way, but that depends on what jam it is, of course. It's what we do. We just put a little glass of schnapps or vodka, close the jar and shake the jar and pour it out again, pour it into the next one.
Oh, so you just sterilise with vodka? In here, I've got one very small cooking apple, and it was just cooked on its own with a tiny, tiny bit of water. And then blackberries and sugar that did have added pectin, juice of a lemon. And red wine as well, which is what makes this quite special. And I'd never thought of putting wine into a jam until I read Christine Ferber and all her wonderful fruit and wine concoctions. But this makes me think of my dad. There was a track that he used to play in the car all the time when we were driving around when we were little. It was called Summer Wine. And of course he's talking about something alcoholic. But I thought, what a fantastic jam when I was little. But when I started to think about making a jam that kind of tied in with that song, it's because my dad played it and because Lee Hazelwood has a really deep voice. I thought that I needed something that was deeper than strawberries and cherries. So it's blackberries with wine.
Booze.
And I think, with wine, and I think it's good.
It's just delicious. And I love the texture.
That is a very nice jam.
And then she gave to me more summer wine. Oh, summer wine.
Hello, I'm Sheila